The show starts off with the Grayson Waller effect. Grayson welcomes us to Monday Night Raw and says that he knows what they're all waiting for, so he tells Theory to come on out. This isn't a normal episode of the Grayson Waller effect. There's a line of security guards blocking Theory off from Waller. Waller says, "Alright, thanks for stopping in on the most must-see talk show in WWE history. Now, I know what you want. You need to know what I want if you're going to get this match. So here's the deal. You want to get your hands on me. I want mine on you. But here's a caveat. When I beat you, you have to leave the Judgment Day." The crowd gasps as Theory thinks about it for a second and says, "Sound pretty confident that you'll beat me. But guess what? You won't. There's nothing you could put in front of me that I won't accept to get my hands on you." He could have said loser leaves Raw and I would have accepted. So you're on. But when I beat you, you have to leave Raw. If I can't beat you, Waller starts, then I don't deserve to be on the flagship show. You got a deal. This match, in the end, it sees Raquel get hit with the KOD. Bianca goes for the pin. One, two, but it gets broken up by none other than Jade Cargill. Bianca starts to fight and swing immediately, but she's on the ground and doesn't have leverage. Jade is able to hit Jaded on her. She takes her out the ring, hits Jaded again, this time on the announce table. While this is going on, Chelsea is able to pick up Raquel and hit an unpretty her. Chelsea picks up the victory and is headed towards the chamber. Let's go.
We're eventually going to have a one-on-one match between Cora and Jade to see who gets the rights to Jaded.
It is, you know who it is.
It's Cora, obviously.
uh, no. All right. Undisputed Era locker room gets a knock on the door. Adam Cole opens and is greeted by Alexa Bliss and Tiffany Stratton. Cole lets them in. They go straight to Rhea, where Rhea says, "Thanks for the save last week. I appreciate it. It's no big deal. We saw a chance to be able to kick their ass and we took it. But we came in here to ask you if you wanted to do it again." Tiffany chimes in saying, "Think about it. Next week, Tiffany, Bliss, and Rhea versus the Bloodline. It'll give us one last chance to beat them all down before Chamber." Rhea says, "Have you talked to Eric about it yet?" "We have. Said it. As long as you're in, then it's all good." "All right then. I'll see you guys next week." All right, we get a little John Cena promo package saying next week might be his last chance to get the title opportunity, and he cannot squander it. All right, then we get this match. This match just devolves into Undisputed Era versus Street Profits with Trick, and in the confusion, Black is able to hit a Black Mass on Ford and pick up the victory. Aleister Black moves on. Uh, the Rock is backstage with the rest of the Bloodline. Looking at the camera, he says, "Well, Roman, given that you've beaten both my men," he turns his back to look at them and turns around with a look of pure anger as he continues, "I suppose there's no more room for us to run from the inevitable. So here we are. I'm laying down a challenge for you. At the Elimination Chamber, me versus you in a Bloodline Rules match. Now, I know that you're going to accept already, so it's time for me to start training. I'll see you soon, Roman." All right. Mello and Cole win, lol. All right. After Mello and Cole win, Roman answers the challenge set out by Rock by saying, "Well, Rock, you were right. I was going to accept anyways. But Bloodline Rules. I should have known you'd take the easy way out. But it doesn't matter. I'm going into the chamber and I'm taking you down and I'm taking back my Ulafala and my spot at the head of the table. I'll see you there. All right. This match, Meechin and Liv still have beef and they're just fighting the whole time. Piper gets taken out of the match, taken out of the equation. Liv is about to get hit with Eat Defeat when Raquel comes out and hits Meechin with her finisher. Liv then hits Oblivion on her. Liv advances towards the chamber. We cut to KO and Stone Cold backstage where KO says, "Look, I got a big match tonight. I don't want you out there. Stay here, get the champagne ready." There you go. That is followed by a promo package backstage by Bianca Belair where she says, "I've had enough of this crap. You want me so bad, Jade? Well, you got me. One on one at Elimination Chamber. But first, Eric says next week we meet face to face in the ring for a contract signing. I'm going to make you regret getting into this industry." All right, main event time. KO and Jade are going, not Jade, Jay are going
Already
back.
booking intergender matches,
Uh,
I see.
KO and Jay are going back and forth in the closing moments of the match. It's coming down to the wire. They both lay each other out. They're both on the ground when they both get jumped by the Undisputed Era. Finn and Nakamura, Mello, JD, and Cole are all out there beating them both down. Finn grabs his championship, puts it to both of their faces, yelling that they'll never be good enough to hold this. The then yells that there is no number one contender and that they all lost. Uh, this brings me out to the crowd with a bunch of security guards. The Undisputed Era retreat through the crowd. I grab a mic and say, "Finn, you say no one won. Well, I say no one lost. So next week it'll be Finn Balor versus Jey Uso versus Kevin Owens for the IC Championship." Camera cuts to Finn freaking out about having to defend his title in a triple threat, and we end Raw. I guess.
Okay.
Let's just give it to Jay. Fuck it.
Okay. Well, I gave it to Kevin, so it's yeah. The show begins showing Paul Heyman in his office receiving a phone call. He answers it and it is the Raw GM on the line. They speak about the Elimination Chamber and if Heyman has chosen the three men that will represent SmackDown in the men's chamber. Heyman says, "What do you take me as? Of course I have taken care of it." Raw's GM asks who those men are, and Heyman stumbles on his words before saying somebody has just come into his office and will have to call him back later. He then looks over to Andrade to inform Bobby, Ilya, and Braun that their match in the main event tonight will not only be for the US title, but also the winner will get a spot in the men's elimination chamber. Andrade leaves, and Heyman says he needs to send out some texts. You then see Andrade walk down the hallway and confront Bobby Lashley first, and informs him about the new stipulation onto their match. Bobby says he is fine with it because now, let alone will he be United States champ, but he'll also have a shot at being world champ. Andrade then heads down the hallway and tells Braun about the updated reward for the winner. Braun just gives Andrade a look, and Andrade says he's not wanting any beef, just sent to inform. He then walks a bit further down and confronts Ilya. Before Andrade says anything, Ilya says, "Are we going to have a problem?" Andrade seems puzzled by this. Ilya says, "Last week when the whole skirmish happened, you were out there separating us. So are you trying to take the US title for yourself? Is Heyman giving you this opportunity as a reward?" Andrade says he's not here to cause any problems. Heyman wanted him out there to help separate you guys, and tonight he's there simply to inform them of the updated plans for the title match. Ilya says, "Okay, but don't get in my way of winning that US title, because it won't end up well for you." Andrade just chuckles and says maybe one day we can see if he can back that up. And then move into the opening match. LA Knight versus Logan Paul versus The Miz. LA Knight wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. We then go backstage. The Rebel Society are in their locker room speaking about Paige. Cora says it's unfair that she's being given a ladder match right after having to go through a chamber. Punk says he understands it may be unfair, but he has full faith in her ability to retain that briefcase. He also knows she will walk out of the chamber with the women's title opportunity, so maybe at WrestleMania we can be celebrating the double champ. They then speak about Punk's match against Seth last week and the chair shot to the head. Punk says, yeah, that one cost him a pretty penny, but a message had to be sent, and once he recovers, I think he'll understand not to mess with someone who's out of his league. Gallus then raise their voices and say, enough about everyone else. Every week it's about Cora's issues with Paige and Punk's problems with Seth. They want the group to start focusing on their success. Punk says they did that for months whilst they were tag champs. Cora and him sat back whilst they let Gallus shine. So what? Now since you guys can't earn a title shot, even if Heyman gave it to them himself, they're getting jealous. They are a group who all have things they want to achieve. This group is meant to help one another, not hold the others down while some thrive. But I don't want you guys feeling left out, so here's what I'll do. I will head to Heyman's office and I'll get you another opportunity at a title shot. Hopefully you guys can get the job done so we can stop with this constant feeling of being left out because others are having success. We then cut over. Charlotte and Paige come down. We go to the ring. Jesus. Charlotte and Paige come down to the ring, and Charlotte says she has something important she needs to show the audience tonight. She feels like everyone hasn't truly understood how bad she got screwed over at the Royal Rumble, so tonight she is going to show a preview for a video. She's going to preview a video for the audience. She points to the Titantron as a black and white video plays, showing her hand on the ropes during the title match, and Roxanne eliminating her during the Rumble after already being eliminated herself. It shows both of these in slow motion with some sad music behind it. At the end of the video, it says, with the audience support, Charlotte can get her redemption at the Elimination Chamber. Charlotte's in tears in the ring just watching this and is about to say something when Becky and Bayley make their way down to the ring. They say they are tired of this. Charlotte, week after week, is just being sorry for herself. At the Elimination Chamber, she had a shot at she has a shot at quote unquote redemption, so instead of whining all the time, just prove it. But since the four of us are already in the ring, how about we have ourselves a tag team match? Charlotte says she has already said last week that she doesn't want to injure Bayley and she doesn't want Becky to have an excuse. Becky says no matter what condition she's in, she will be victorious at the Elimination Chamber. Charlotte says, well, anyway, I'm too choked up after that video to compete, but Paige will gladly soften you up since you're in such a fighting mood. Move on to Becky versus Paige. Towards the end of the match, we see Becky setting up Paige for the manhandle slam when Charlotte slides into the ring and chops Becky's leg out from under her. This causes a DQ. Bayley is quick to get in the ring and help even the odds, but eventually gets outnumbered as Becky is holding on to her knee. As Paige and Charlotte are stomping away on Becky, Cora comes out from out of nowhere and nails Paige with her briefcase. Charlotte sees this and just backs away and rolls out of the ring. Cora then stands tall with Becky and Bayley in the ring, but Becky wins via DQ. We then go backstage. CM Punk enters Paul Heyman's office to speak about Gallus getting another title opportunity. Karrion Kross and the Final Testament enter the office as well. Kross says, "Why are you doing this? You brought these men to heights they couldn't have ever dreamed of, and now they have you doing their dirty work for them because they can't get the job done. My men have already earned their title shot and will win those titles at the Elimination Chamber. So how about if you would entertain the thought, Mr. Heyman? Right now, me, you, and a random third participant head to that ring. I know we still need another man for the men's chamber, and you want to earn your boys a title shot. So whoever wins this match makes it into the men's chamber. Plus, if you win, Then after the Elimination Chamber, your boys get their title shot. AJ Styles then walks it in with the OC and says, if you need a third man, then you're looking at him. Oh, and when I win, my guys get the title shot instead. Heyman says this is perfect and will notify an official to make their way down to the ring. We set up this match um, between Punk, Cross, and AJ. Towards the end of the match, there's a lot of chaos as both AOP and Good Brothers are brawling, and AJ is on the outside trying to separate them, but gets squished in between them instead. Back in the ring, you see CM Punk starting to get to his feet on one side and carrying Cross slowly getting up on the other. Cross has his back turned towards the ramp, and once he gets up, he turns around and Joe Coffey nails him with a discus clothesline. Mark Coffey then picks him up and tosses him over to Punk, who picks him up and nails the GTS. Punk covers him as Gallus fends off the other teams. Punk picks up the win. We then go backstage. Sami Zayn and Bronson Reed are speaking about last week and Brock coming out and attacking Sami. Sami complains, saying he wasn't even a competitor in the match. He was minding his own business on the outside, and this distraction caused you to get distracted when you obviously had Drew beat. Drew then approaches and said, if he had me so obviously beat, then how come I walked out of the match with my hand raised high? Sami says, did you not just hear what I was complaining about? Drew cuts him off and says he wasn't listening because he has grown tired of Sami always complaining. Even when things are going Sami's way, you find a way to complain. So let me put things simply for you. At the Elimination Chamber, I am putting all your worries to rest. I am taking that title off of your shoulder so you don't have the burden of being the world champion anymore. We then cut over. Damage Control speak about their problems with PFC when PFC cut them off. Sonya says at Elimination Chamber it's going to be a cakewalk for them to claim those women's tag titles. How are you guys supposed to focus on winning the titles when you have Io in the women's chamber? Shouldn't you guys be supporting her on her chance to once again become women's champion? Or have you grown jealous of Io's success and are trying to split the group so some of you have more time to shine? Dakota says Damage Control knows exactly what they have in front of them, and any of their success is all of their success. Sure, they are in separate matches at the Elimination Chamber, but that just means there's two opportunities for Damage Control to shine. We all know what it's like to have multiple. We know what it's like to have multiple champions in our group. Unfortunately, I don't think you guys can say the same. Shayna then chimes in and says, "Since you want to talk all this trash, how about we head to the ring right now and see if you can back it up?" Dakota then laughs and says she has already beaten 2 out of the 3 of them, so if Shayna wants to complete the clean sweep, then she will gladly oblige. Those two head to the ring. Dakota versus Shayna. Towards the end of the match, we see Dakota get Shayna in position for the apron hung curb stomp. As she's about to hit the move, she sees PFC come down the ramp. Shayna takes advantage of this and attacks Dakota's knee, then gets behind her and locks in the sleeper hold. Dakota, unable to get to the rope, passes out, and Shayna picks up the victory. We then see Paul Heyman in his office when Raw's GM once again calls and they speak about the men's chamber. Heyman apologizes for having to end their phone call earlier, but he has 2 men ready for the chamber in LA Knight and CM Punk. He then has a match coming up right now to decide the third competitor. So if you want to see who the final man from SmackDown is, then maybe tune into SmackDown and watch the greatness we are providing over here. We then see Braun Breaker get interviewed about the upcoming title match and for a spot in the men's chamber. He says tonight he let alone regains his title, he also starts a path towards double champion status. The dogs are barking and are ready to see some destruction. The cameras then head over to Ilya, who is asked about the upcoming match by Kathy Kelly, but he doesn't respond. He just takes in this intense deep breath, and Kathy slowly backs away. Cameras then cut to Bobby, who is walking towards the ring. He says he feels like this is a resurgence for him and he wants to ride this wave as long as he can. But if you don't mind, I have some business I need to tend to. We then hear his music and he walks through Gorilla and onto the stage for his entrance. Main event: Breaker, Ilya, Lashley for the U.S. title and for the final spot in the men's chamber. Towards the end of the match, we see Bobby and Braun in the ring. Braun is setting up for the spear, and as he is about to connect, Bobby just grabs him out of the air and hits him with the Dominator. Before he can get down to cover Braun, Ilya comes charging across the ring and nails Bobby with a diving headbutt. Bobby then falls out of the ring, and Ilya climbs up top and nails Braun with an H-bomb. Ilya then covers Braun. One, two, three. Ilya Dragunov wins the United States title. Ilya gets up and celebrates winning the U.S. title when he gets taken out by Andrade. The show ends with Andrade standing over the new United States champion.